till I die, Spurs diehards. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs diehards. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die, Spurs diehards. Tottenham till I die.
Hello and welcome to the regular Friday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight we'll be talking about incoming transfers, the recent bomber, which will be announced shortly, officially, either today or tomorrow. Future incomings. We'll discuss the Brentford game tomorrow. We'll do a predicted lineup for fun. I hardly ever get them right. And we'll take questions from the chat, obviously. I've also put the link out there. So, Anthony, if you want to come on, Tottenham Therapy, hit that link and come on, mate. Let's go through the... let me introduce Alan from California first, and then I'll go through the chat. Alan, how are you? What's the weather like out there? It's getting cooler in here.
It's hotter here. It's 35 today.
Wow.
And it's supposed to be 35 for the rest of the week, through the weekend, through into next week. So we're just trying to keep cool.
Yeah, we don't have air conditioning over here because we never used to rarely used to get hot summers. British summer used to consist of like 3 days of sunshine and then a thunderstorm, and that was it. Done. Hey, here we go. Here we go. We've got Ant making a debut on here. Yeah, so welcome, Ant.
Yeah, mate. How are you? You all right?
Can hear you okay, yeah?
Yeah, you all right? How are you?
Fine. Where are you? Where's your location? Part of England? Where are you?
I'm in Milton Keynes.
Oh, right, Bucks or Aylesbury? Is that?
Yeah, Buckinghamshire.
Yeah, I'm in North London, about a mile and a half from the ground. So it's starting to get cooler in the evenings now. I don't like the heat anyway, but I also don't like the freeze to death, right?
No, I'm the same. Typical Brit. Moment it's too hot, moment it's too cold.
Yeah. Like I say, right, okay. Let me have a look at the chat. Who's in the chat first? Right, we've got big friend of the show, Nita. Hi, big up, Nita. And we've got, Roger Mance, regular friend of the show as well. There's me saying we're starting shortly. Then we've got you saying hello. And then we got Teddy. Good evening, Teddy. My mate in Chinkford, Brian. How you doing, Brian? Big up, mate. Sean Hurl. Yeah. Phil Coyers. If you want to come on, Phil, the link's in the chat, mate. It'd be good to get you on. We haven't had you. I don't think you've been on a Dialed show, mate. King Oddle, yeah. If you want to come on, Oddle, come on. Give a bit of head on and co. Yeah. Nita saying this. All right, we're starting early. Yeah, okay. Let's go back to the banners. The latest transfer news. Right. Let's get into this. Right. Savino's a done deal. I'll come to you, Ant, first. I mean, it hasn't been announced, but this deal's a done deal, isn't it? How do you feel about getting Savino? Do you like the player?
Yeah, I love Savino. I mean, we've got a weird fan base, haven't we? We're complaining. I've heard all the social media complaining we're going after players like Savino and Mamouche and stuff, and I'm like, who do we think we are? And also, I heard from other people say, well, look at Savino's numbers the last couple of years at City. Hardly any goals or a few assists. Well, to be honest, he's had Semenyo and Doku in the team. So when he has played, he's only played few minutes here and there, and also if Savinio's and Marmoush's numbers were that good for Man City, then Man City wouldn't be selling them to us in the first place. So we're going after those players because they're not good enough for Man City. But Man City at the moment are at a different level than where we are. So those are the type of players we should be targeting. Because if they were firing, if Marmoush was Man City's number one striker and banning all these goals, do you think he's going to come to Tottenham? So Savinio, I just think I'm not a massive fan of Tell. I don't see what he offers us. And Savinio, I've seen glimpses of him, and sometimes you just don't suit a certain club and a certain manager. And I think De Zerbi can be the one to get the best out of him. And if he does, we've got a really exciting player on our hands.
Alan, what's your take on Savinio? Do you like him?
I think I agree. I agree that Savinio has a lot of potential. He unfortunately doesn't get a lot of play time. It's very difficult to put up numbers when you're just getting games haphazardly, kind of filling in as needed. It's very difficult to get into any kind of rhythm. So Pep really loved him. Pep didn't want to get rid of him. I respect Pep as a manager. Pep is pretty good about putting a team together, and he wanted Savinio. He's young, he has a lot of potential, and he'll get a lot more game time with us. So, I don't, just because he may not have had the numbers at Man City, it doesn't mean to me that he won't get the numbers for us. Man City had players that they got rid of, Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, I think. They let, even when what's his name? Went to Everton, the winger. Grealish. Same thing, just because they don't perform on man, and Grealish had a lot more time than Savinio has had, in terms of game time. I think Savinio will do well for us. He'll get the game time, he'll get the coaching, he'll get the opportunity. I think he'll rise to the occasion. I don't know that he's the number one. I would assume, well, I guess he would be the number one. Does that mean that Matisse Tell becomes number two? Or does Matisse Tell go somewhere else? Where would he play?
But also, Gakpo. Also, if we sign Gakpo and stuff, where will he play? The thing is, though, like what you're saying is are we forgetting, like, before Savinio went to Man City, he was at Girona and he was producing numbers and doing really well. So suddenly he goes to a club and it doesn't perform in that club. Does that automatically make him a bad player? He's just not suited to that club, the way of style, the system, everything playing. Going from us people, fans are unbelievable, aren't it? Like we always do this. We were like, not just Spurs fans, all fans do it. They'll be an interesting player, and then as soon as they go to another club and it doesn't quite work out there, suddenly we're like, they must be bad players because it hasn't worked out. Just because it, like you said, just because it doesn't work out at one club, doesn't mean it's going to be like that at every club.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, my take on it, I've seen the mixed reactions, but we get that with every player that we bring in this football club. I like the player. I've said it on so many podcasts that, like, my only concern is the lack of goals, which I think he'll get his share under De Zerbi ball. We can talk about De Zerbi ball later. And and when the comparisons with Tell, when you look at the stats, Sean Butler showed some stats and like they're very similar. So why are we going for Cena? Okay, I get his point. It's valid. But when you watch the videos of them, they're a different style of player. They're different types. I've always thought of Tell as more of an inside forward than an out-and-out winger. But De Zerbi said he's a winger, so I'm not going to get in the ring with De Zerbi. I mean, he's football coach, right? But they've got different styles, the way they progress the ball. They might be similar in stats, but they do things differently. Yeah. So I don't know if you've been. I don't have to ask you or Andy this one. I'll ask you both. You can both answer this. What's your take on the press and the media, right, commenting about us spending money Have you heard them? Al? Have you heard them?
Yeah, I heard like briefly. Did De Zerbi say something like, not in this so many words, but then he say something like, "What? Why is everyone so fussed about us spending money or something like that?" He said something. He didn't say in those words, but I think that's sort of gist he got. The thing is, you have a lot of outside noise. You hear talk sport all the time having a go at Spurs, like Gary Bonhor crying about Spurs spending all this money, and it's not fair on poor old Villa. But people forgetting that the amount, all the revenue Spurs bring in to the stadium and things like that, that we're able to spend this money, and I think it's because it's a vendetta against Spurs. If United, City, Chelsea, or any other club was spending all this money, no one would bat an eyelid. But because Spurs finished 17th 2 years in a row, suddenly it's a massive issue. But people forgetting that when Gabby Bonhor says stuff like, "Oh, it's not fair, Villa's got a Champions League and I'm going to sell the best players," but for the last, I think it's like 20 out of 23 seasons or something, we were in Europe, so we were traditionally a Big Six club. It's just the last couple of years we've fallen away a little bit. But Villa had relegations in that. It's only the last few years that they've got into European places. So at the end of the day, I don't really care what the press say or anyone says. I'm just as a Spurs fan loving it, and I'd really, they could just go and do one for. I like it.
Well, and we're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't, right? Because if we don't
Yeah.
spend, same old Spurs. If we do spend,
Exactly.
yeah, there's no winning, so there's no point in even playing in the ring,
Yeah.
Just and
Well,
with Savino, I heard somewhere else that part of the reason why his value, what we paying so much, isn't so much that we're paying for him. It's compensating for the 15% that Frankfurt gets for Marmouche.
Yeah.
And they're playing, they're playing accounting, the accounting game, trying to limit how much they're going to give to Frankfurt, and so they wanted more for Savino.
Alan, where were the complaints when Chelsea and Man City were buying players?
See, that's the thing. There aren't any. Everyone, Abramovich came out of, starting to spend tons. Maybe back then he was getting questioned, but then after a while, people just stopped questioning it. And Man City, same thing. They bought Haaland, they bought all these huge players, and no one bats an eye. But when we start spending, even though we're fiscally probably the most responsible team out there and have the money to spend because of that, those pundits, they're idiots. They don't mention any of that. Like, well, but Tottenham has been fiscally responsible this whole time. They pretty much created the playbook for how to run a club as far as our finances are concerned. Without the all of the 115 charges and other issues. So there's a bias against Spurs, and I think we all agree on that.
The thing is, like you said, it's a bias. Everyone hates Spurs. Everyone wants us to fail. Everyone hates us. All the London clubs hate Spurs. And the thing is, what people say, we're not a big club. When I'm like, well, if not such a big club, why are you all talking about us? Why did you all want us relegated? And I've said something that people probably sound controversial on air, and I'm going to say it again. I don't care what people say. Don't worry, it's not swearing. It's not swearing. Don't worry about that. It is. I've said this in the past, and people have called me out on it, and I'm sticking by my argument. Spurs, historically, are a bigger club than Man City. Now, Man City are a successful club the last 15, 20 years. And they've done it, they've won trophies, and I'm not dismissing that. But before they had all that money, no one was batting an eyelid about it. No one was thinking about them. They were like struggling and all this stuff, and then they got all that money. But no one mentioned about them, and it's an anti-Tottenham thing. People just don't like Tottenham. That's it. The press don't like Tottenham. No one likes us. But you know what? Television companies love Tottenham because we are on TV pretty much all the time.
Alan, look, we take the banter. We know everybody's at us. I mean, Spurs fans are stoics anyway. They're used to this. They take the banter and all that, the Spursy tag and all that. Even though we won a European trophy, there's still the Spursy tag, right?
Right.
Adrian Durham on Talk Shite Radio, he'll mention Spurs even when he's not even when Spurs aren't playing. When there's 2 other games, oh, they're a bit Spursy or something like that, right? Fine. Now, I don't mind the banter and all that. We're all thick-skinned. You've got to be thick-skinned to be a podcaster, as you two are as well anyway, right? But Arsenal finished below us for about 8 seasons, right? If you're going to have a banter name for Spurs, right, why haven't you got one for Arsenal? Why aren't Arsenal Farsenal? I would call them Farsenal then 8 times they finished below us, right? You could think a name up for, I mean, Wet Spam's a bit common, or Chelsea or something like that. But like, if you're going to balance it out, fair enough. But the bias is there. You know, I think Darren's married to a Gooner anyway, right? So like that says it all, really, you know. But yeah, so if you're going to come at us, we're used to it. We've been used to being bashed for having Jewish owners and Jewish supporters and things like that. So some of it is anti-Semitic. It's not all of it, but some of it is. When they used to come to our ground and make hissing gas noises, Chelsea used to sing about gassing the Jews and things like that, right? A lot of the young generation won't know that. That's when we actually adopted the word Yid and Yid Army, and we adopted it as a form of reverse psychology. Same as Arsenal adopted the word Gooner, because that was a hold them as an insult, you know. And of course, it's all changed. You've got organisations don't like us using it, but like even all the foreign Spurs groups all over the world, they'll sing Yid Army now and all that. And it's not as a derogative term, because that would be self-deprecating, wouldn't it? Like, you know, I mean, if you were doing that, you know, and then like there was some sort of effort, even from some of the administrators at the stadium, to stop Spurs fans using the word Yid or Yid Army, you know, which, you know, that actually went. I remember this because I was vehemently opposed against these groups trying to stop us. And if you try and stop a fan base, even in the stadium, they're only going to rebel about it. You won't stop it in the pubs and all that down the high road. They'll just sing it even more, right? And especially away games as well. And what my recollection is in like 2013, some, I don't know, politically correct person, I assume he was on the left, went to court about Spurs fans' uses of the word Yid, right? And the judge threw it out. Said it's not abusive, it's not threatening, and it's not anti-Semitic in any way. And they're not content with that. When David Cameron's Prime Minister...
He's still there?
Yeah. Why, can you hear me?
Is that your signal?
What do you mean? Is that my signal? Short pause in my little discourse. Can you hear me, Ant? You all right?
You must be having issues.
You must be having issues there.
Yeah.
You all right? You can log out.
I can't hear you very well. 1 second.
All right, log out and log back.
I'm gonna log in on my laptop. All right.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I'll carry on. Right. Okay. Yeah. So that went to Parliament, British Parliament. You wouldn't believe it, Al. And then David Cameron, Prime Minister, said, no, it's not abusive, it's not threatening, it's not anti-Semitic in any way. So he got kicked out. And then the police arrested. There was 2 games we played. I remember we played West Ham. We played a European team called FC Sheriff. And 3 fans were arrested for using the word. It went to the Crown Prosecution Service over here. They threw it out. And now the word Yid is in the Oxford English Dictionary. Right, let's get him back in. It's in now. The word Yid is in the Oxford English Dictionary. Now, it's got under the definition of Jew. It is there as a derogative term, but when you go right down, it also says player and supporter of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So that sort of killed it really, and then things went quiet because even Sky and Talk Sport and it was perennial. It was a perennial argument. It was brought up every season, but they've quietened on that one, you know. And I'm glad because it's our identity, it's our battle cry, you know what I mean? So it's ours. Yeah. So yeah, just a bit of information for the 50 odd of you watching us, which is excellent on a Friday evening. Yeah, so that's on that, slightly off track. Yeah, Savino, it will bring something different. I hope he's left-footed, so I hope he plays on the left, because I hope that with Robertson on the left, that we will actually stretch the pitch at the far, at the far end, with crosses coming in that curl away from the keeper. I mean, he's a fantastic dribbler. He's superbly talented, right? I mean, like, he's technically excellent, right? So he is an upgrade. Whether people like him or not, he's an upgrade on what we've got, and he will get fans off their seats. What we want to see is end product as well in goals, don't we? See what he contributes to us.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I'm happy. I know it's a done deal. Now, I think this is a done deal as well, Anne. What's your take? I'll give you my explanation later. Don't hog the show.
Yes, I think it's a done deal. I think they're just tying up the loose ends. I think it wouldn't surprise me if he's having his medical tonight, actually. But there's always something in the back of your head until it's officially done. You always have doubts, but I don't know if anyone else has got. I've not heard anyone else being linked to Marmoush, so I think we might have a clear run at him. But we had a clear run.
Oh, the Saudis were in. The Saudis were in. The Saudis were in.
Oh yeah, I don't think he wants to go to
He's
Saudi
27,
Arabia.
No.
I think he wants to come to Tottenham. I've heard all good stuff that he does want to come. But I've heard other players in the past saying they want to come as well, and it hasn't happened. But I think this one will get done. De Zerbi seems, look, isn't it so nice just to be backing a manager? The manager's identified the players he wants, and he said in his press conference he's like a shark, and whoever he wants, he gets the players over the line. And he's identified these players, and we're actually the number one, his number one targets we're going for. And I know it's taken a while to get signings, and I guess I get the frustration from other fans, and I'm frustrated as well. But isn't it better to go for his number one signings than go for his number 2 or 3 signings or something? So I'm ecstatic. If we get Marmoush tonight, or if we get in the middle of the night, here we go. 2 brilliant signs in a week, and yeah, I'm over the moon with it. I'm really happy. I've not been this happy in a while as a Spurs fan, so I'm delightful. Yeah,
I
delighted.
don't think many fans have been happy in a while. Well, the warm glow from winning that Europa League quickly faded. We should still have a warm glow, inside over that. Alan, what's your take on Marmoush? You like the player?
I do. Look, he was amazing at Frankfurt, and I think again, but for the fact that he was in competition with Erling Haaland, he would have been the number 1. But he just wasn't. And so he had to play in a position either when Haaland came out, which wasn't that often, or at a different position, out of his preferred position. He just didn't get a lot of game time. Same with Savino. I think this deal will get done. I don't think we buy Savino for the 85 million plus add-ons if we weren't going to get Marmoush. I think the reason why it was 85, because for so long we thought it was going to be like 60, right? We were going back and forth like it's 60, and then maybe 70 for some reason, but not 85. I just feel like that commitment to paying 85 for Savino pretty much guaranteed we were going to get Marmoush. We'll just get Marmoush for like 40, is my guess, something like that, because they don't want to pay the extra. They don't want to pay more on that 15% to Frankfurt. But
if you're Frankfurt, you're going to be furious, aren't you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, did you hear the rumours about this might be a loan to buy deal, which I found a bit strange.
Oh, I've not heard that. I think it's a permanent. I listen to Fabrizio Romano and I listen to Ornstein, and they're the only ones I've listened to. Ornstein's the man, and Fab's just behind him. They're the only ones. I don't listen to all these. I hear people sending me links from Team Talk and 442 and all that stuff, and I'm like
Insider, and
I'm just like it's clickbait. I've not heard any reliable journalists say that, and I've not heard them say the loan to buy. And until they do, I'm just assuming it's a permanent transfer.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing with Ornstein and the Athletic is when you're a season ticket holder, you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a year's subscription to the Athletic. So there's obviously a connection with the club. Now, I don't know if that means that I don't mean the reporters on the Athletic. I don't know if it means they're all as accurate as Ornstein is, because
Yeah.
We're an attractive club, though. I mean, Marmouche is going to get a majority of these 38 plus games to start, in my opinion. He comes right in and starts over Solanke, over Richie. Maybe Richie is the one at that point that starts Carabao Cup games. But I would think Marmouche is the preferred option. He's just going to get a ton of game time, which is the one thing. It's why Jed Spence left. It's why any of the players are coming. They want game time, and they want De Zerbi. I think I read also that Marmouche wants to play for De Zerbi.
I mean, I don't know if you see De Zerbi's press conference today.
Yeah,
he was asked about Spence. He said I really rate him as one of the top fullbacks in the country, but he wanted guaranteed game time. He said, we're building competition here. I'm not going to guarantee anyone. He's actually saying no one's guaranteed. Well, there's a few that are virtually as long as they're fit, right?
He won't say that, will he? He'll say everyone's got to fight for their place.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Adrian, he also said that Solanke was fantastic, or the Richarlison was fantastic. So he might be saying that these players are fantastic to the press, but deep down he might be glad that Spencer's gone.
Well, I'll bring a couple of banners up after we have a discussion on this. I mean, Marmouche really suits his Zerbi ball because he's fast and he can run in behind. Mido was going on about him before he went to Man City.
Yeah,
he said Spurs should get Marmouche, right? Two fellow Egyptians, obviously, So I think he's going to play through the middle. He could play behind Solanke. There's no hard and false rule says that we have to play a 10. There are quite a few clubs out there that haven't got a 10, aren't there now? So I think.
Well, I don't think that lot down the road, I don't think they play a traditional 10, do they?
So Savinho comes in. There was this is for both of you. Savinho comes in, and there was like a lot of debate over. Let's get the deal done quick. Get it all signed up and registered so he can play against Brentford on tomorrow. But that never entered my head. I mean, because I'm thinking, well, even if you come in, you'll be on the bench, right? I mean, we have a good game, Alan. We have a game against Charlton on Wednesday, right? If Marmouche is in by then, that is the perfect game to blood these two, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlton. Where is Charlton? Are they League Two?
They're Championship.
Oh, they're Championship.
Yeah.
Then it is definitely a great game because the Championship is arguably a very difficult league to play in. It's just.
I hope we don't mess about with that though. Like we'll play our second strings in Charlton. I hope we play like.
We haven't really got a second string now, eh?
I know, but I hope we don't get like the Charlisons and the Tells and the Archie Gray in midfield, which we might play, but I hope we play someone's top next to him and stuff rather than So I want us to go out and win a cup competition this season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I see.
No, they're not. The thing is, Roger has put at the bottom here. Sorry to slip his comments. He's put Charlton in League One. No, they're not, mate. They're Championship. Go and look it up. They're definitely Championship.
Okay. Well, I'll go through the chat and we'll talk about that. Roger, good point, mate. No one's going to disagree with that. We don't really want to believe he got me. Yes, the chain got broken. Yeah, it's been broken. It should have been broken before then, though. I mean, they run the show. They own the club. So they should have got rid of Levy early if they wasn't happy with the way things were going. I think what broke the camel's back wasn't last year's 17th place finish because we were never in fear of going down when we won the Europa League. Ange just went for it. Players wanted him placed him. De Zerbi as players coach. See Madison. Yeah, I've not seen one player. Well, they wouldn't anyway have a bad word to say about the manager, or they'd say nothing at all, right? So yeah, and we've seen it as well. We've seen his passion. We've seen him on the training ground. I mean, he's like a good man manager, and you've got to be a bit of a psychologist, haven't you, Al, to like manage a squad of players?
Absolutely. And De Zerbi is that. He's a very good man manager. But also, he doesn't let himself get walked over. I think that was part of the problem with Thomas Frank. He seemed like he was kind of weak-willed. You never got that sense that he was super stern and the locker room knew that he ruled it. Whereas I think with RDZ, he rules that locker room.
Good point.
Remember the on-pitch incident where I think it's in Chelsea when Spence and Van der Ven walked down the tunnel and they didn't even acknowledge French when he came over. Can you imagine if they did that to De Zerbi? Oh my goodness! I think they'll be dropped for next game. I don't think they'll be playing.
Yep.
He's gone in January.
They wouldn't do that to him in the first place. I can't imagine them doing that to him.
Right.
Yeah, but Frank was awful. You had all those that pumped up Frank, get him in. I mean, it's like when Spurs fans get it wrong. They'll never admit they got it wrong. You know what I mean?
I was wrong. I weren't in the YouTube world when we got him though. Yeah, but I said to people like my dad, I said to people, my friends, I think Frank, steady pair of hands. I think he'll do a really good job at Spurs. I was not expecting the way it went in the end. I thought he did really well at Brentford, but it's a different level. It's a little bit like Graham Potter going from Brighton, who did really well at Brighton, to Chelsea. The step up is just too big, and I just don't. Yeah, I just massively underestimated how much of a tough job, or how much of a Frank's a decent manager, but he's not a top manager.
No, right. No. And look, he's got a job at the BBC on Match of the Day now. He's never going to get a top job now, ever, is he?
I think he's going to have to work. I think he's going to have to build his reputation back up again. But look at Potter. He was at Brighton. Did really well at Brighton. But then De Zerbi came in after him and did an even better job, which didn't help him at all. He went to Chelsea and struggled. Then went to West Ham and struggled. So it just proves that grass isn't always greener. So you can understand them going and joining bigger clubs, but sometimes they're not suited to that level. They're not as good as they think they are.
Just going to catch up in the chat. We're going to talk about this later. We still ship players out, but we need legacy players also, right? Charlie's gone. It's only a problem when Spurs want to spend. Yeah. On that though, on our spend, it was great. There was a great. On X, it was someone posted comments and saying like, yeah, Spurs can get Marmouche in and Savino now because we've consulted with Newcastle and Aston Villa fans and they said it's okay.
Yeah, I
did you see that? It was brilliant. And I posted of like someone posted an image, and one side it had like Man City signing a player, everyone smiling. Below Man City's Villa signing a player, smiling. Opposite them, it had Spurs signing Tonali and Fernandes, angry outrage, and below that the same again, like signing Savino, angry. That was funny. If you see the picture, it was funny.
I'm a bit surprised. Man City, like they never beat us, and yet they're selling two of their players to us and stuff. Do they ever want to beat us?
You're right, King Oddle. All the media are trying to boil our piss, right? But I mean, like, it's not going to work with us. They're just going to find someone else to beat with a stick, aren't they?
I love, that everyone hates us and stuff. I love it. I'm like, at first it used to wind me up, but now I'm like, you know what? You're never going to change people's opinions on us. So, I'm lapping it up now. I'm loving it. So,
yeah, and no mention of the fact that two of the clubs that spent the most money are two of the biggest cheats in the game. I mean, Man City, it goes back to Mancini and Pellegrini when they took over, and they've still got to answer for their 115 charges. Makes you wonder why they're getting rid of players, really. And Chelsea have got a fine off the league and a fine off the FA for cheating. But even Abramovich, when he came in, I mean, he was refused before any scandal involving Chelsea. He was refused British citizenship. That tells you a lot. Yeah. Anyone who pumps hundreds of millions into our economy, Al, they normally get a knighthood or a seat in the House of Lords, right? But he was refused. So that tells you that our security services and the government know, like, oh, he's Fred Pallies with Putin without getting into politics. We don't do that. But it shows you, they know about a lot about his dodgy dealings. And the proof of the pudding was no owner walks away from the club and loses 2 billion or 2.5 billion, unless there's a sword of Damocles hanging over their head saying, like, look, you don't go quietly. Not only will we bust your club, but you're going down. Steve's there, and so is Zeus. Whoa. Evening, guys.
Okay.
Evening, Steve.
So,
Good evening.
Yeah,
Evening,
so
guys. How you doing tonight?
happy times as a Spurs fan. I will ask you your take, Steve, on Savinho. I don't think you're as keen as others are, but what's
No,
your
I'm
take?
not.
Okay, fine.
No.
That's
no,
what you're
I'm
here
not.
for. To
Yeah.
express opinion. At the end of the day, Steve, opinions are like Steve. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one.
That's exactly, and some are more prominent than others, right? For instance, I might have a big asshole. No, I'm just playing. So first and foremost, good evening, everyone, and I hope you're doing well, Zeus. I hope you're doing well. Same thing with you, Alan, and I hope your guys' week was fantastic. I'm not familiar with the gentleman up here in the corner, so I hope you're having a good Friday.
I'm
He's a new
Tottenham
podcaster.
Therapy, a YouTuber myself, but yeah, my
Fantastic.
name's Anthony. Nice to meet you, mate. You're right.
Absolutely. So no, I'm not a big fan of Savinho, and I've had the pleasure of watching Savinho back in his days in the Netherlands and also in Spain. And quite honestly, that actually is his level. And here's the interesting thing, right? Man City took a shot on him because the physical attributes are there, right? The guy's got pace, the dude's got size, and for the Premier League, that looks good and all. But individually, as a player, he doesn't really have a lot of end product. And the thing about this is, it's like, okay, great. He goes 1v1 against his defender. That looks great. But that being said, the two things that you absolutely need to do, and especially this season, considering what we needed, was at the very least 30 goals across the attacking three. That is like the should have been the end result for this transfer window to improve our goal scoring prowess. And he does not have the end product. He does not score goals. And on top of that, he's just not that great of a passer. At most, he might be, even with the Premier League task, he should be no more than 55 million pounds. And the last time I heard is like we ended up like paying 100 million pounds for this dude who really is a third choice player for City. And when Pep Guardiola, over the last couple of years, when there have been injuries on the left side, and Pep Guardiola passes over Savinho in favor of somebody else, or when it comes to a transfer window, they just go out and flat out replace replace the injured player when it comes to the transfer window. And so if that's not an indictment, I don't know what is. It's like Pep Guardiola is quite literally considered like one of the best managers in the world, if not the best manager, and he didn't rate Savinho. And so for that standpoint, I'm looking at it. It's like, okay, cool. In the context of the season, especially when we get our right-sided attackers, and all of a sudden now you're kind of looking at the scale of the left side of our attack. There's a good chance that you can be made by November, December. Matisse Tell is going to overtake Savinho as the starter in the starting 11 because he just does not have the end product that you absolutely want in this attack. Right? He does not score goals, and that is something that is absolutely paramount to this attack. And so, if you guys feel like he's a 75, 80 million pound player, fair enough. God bless you. But at the end of the day, it's like we're talking about literally at best high end of a backup left winger.
I don't particularly care about prices, Steve. I mean, I care about. I just care about whether the player's an upgrade and whether he's quality. I believe he is, but that's just my opinion. Zeus, what's your take on Savinho? Do you like the player?
I like the idea of the player in the sense that we went out and got someone that we wanted and De Zerbi wanted, I'm sure. I think he said really positive things about him, about how he can mold him as a player. So, Steve talked about end product and I guess maybe his deficiencies, but De Zerbi seems to be aware of him and it's somebody that he wants to work with. So I really like the action in the sense that it's like, hey, we want a starting left winger, and we were willing to go out and pay the money to get one on top of all the money that we've spent. So it's a big move, like regardless of how he pans out. It's a statement signing, another statement signing, which has been a great transfer window Enoch in. Shout out to my man Daniel Levy.
I'll stay with you. I'll stay with you on this because, like, I'll get your take on Mamouche after the next question I ask you. Then I'll go back to Steve on Mamouche, right? As your late arrivals, like, you're excused your tardiness, though. You know what I mean?
Hey, I gotta work. I gotta pay the bills.
I got
Anyway,
Yeah.
Pre-season he looked hot, right? But Maresca came out and said, from the Thursday I arrived, Savina told me he wanted to leave, right? Okay, that's him, he wanted to go. And we know, like, he put in a transfer request 24 days ago now, whatever it was. But when I watched him in pre-season, he's left-footed for those, the 80 of you listening or watching us on various platforms. And he was playing on the right pre-season, and he played damn well. Again, an inverted winger. I mean, do you want to see him on the right, or, you know, we know we're short on the left, you know, so...
For me, like, you know, we've been asking for a starting left winger for a while, right? Tell, you know, maybe he's not quite there yet, but Kudus, we know what he's about when he's available, right? Tell, there's definitely for me like you know, you could make an upgrade. He could be upgraded. That position could be upgraded. So I need Savinho on the left. All this other talk about Gakpo coming in and Kudus playing the 10. I don't want to see that. Like, the left wing needs, since Son left, right? We don't have a, you know, premier starting left winger. So I need him on the left and no shifting, no switching. Everything else is kind of falling into places. Need him on the left, and maybe Mamouche in the 9. So left only.
Okay, I'll jump to Steve.
Sorry, Adrian, can I say one thing? Sorry. The thing is, I'm not big up to everyone that don't rate Savinho. Obviously it's everyone's opinion. It's still title to, but I'm not having Tell. I don't see what Tell offers. His final ball is awful, and you think Savinho's final ball is awful. We've been seeing Tell for the last 2 years get in good positions and can't cross the ball, can't put a decent ball in.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's 19 and 20 years old, learning on the job in the Premier League, and you can see his progression and his improvement. He's improved. But what I like his finished product is not there yet, but the high ceiling is there. And actually, throughout the preseason, it looked like he's actually gotten a little bit better. I'll just say that.
Don't you think sometimes a certain player just don't suit a certain manager? And look, Pep Guardiola, the greatest manager ever, but I still think, like Jack Grealish, for example. I still think Jack Grealish was better at Aston Villa than he was at Man City, which is mad because he won loads of stuff at City. But as a player, I think he was taking players on, and he was a bit restricted under Pep. I never saw that under him. Don't you think a certain player will just explode a bit more, get a bit more freedom? De Zerbi comes in. Different players are different under different managers and different clubs and stuff. And I just, my opinion, I just think Savinho, with the right manager, right setup, right system, can explode for us.
I think what affected Savinho at City was the fact that when they had the opportunity to get Semenyo in and Doku in, he's gone for more dynamic wingers, more physical wingers with more physical presence. Otherwise, if they hadn't managed to get those players in, it would have been different. You know, Phil Foden couldn't get in the team. I would take him tomorrow. Right, he couldn't get him that season he had before. He was world class throughout that season. Foden was, in my opinion. Every time I see him, I thought, God, this kid's got everything. And then suddenly he's dropped off. And I don't know if it's a confidence issue and all that, you know, with them. I mean, they let Oscar Bob go, didn't they? Another winger, Norwegian, right?
I'd have had him. I think Oscar Bob's decent.
So let's go to Steve on Marmouche. Are you happy with Marmouche?
You know, the interesting thing is I actually think Marmouche would be a really good squad player for this team, right? Like, I don't necessarily think that if you give him 38 games over the course of the entire season, he's one of those type of players. But that being said, from the standpoint of he does actually have a good, he does have a good ball. And he can score and he can finish. But that being said, the only thing I question is like whether or not you could put him out there for 15 games and he's going to be consistent over those 15 games, or is this something where you start him depending on opponent, right? And what I like about the season, because we don't have the added pressure of Europe, Roberto De Zerbi is going to be able to rotate. and he's going to be able to utilize Marmoush in the way that he's supposed to be utilized. And I actually think, for the price that we're potentially getting Marmoush for, I think that's about right. But from the end point, like in all of this conversation, Marmoush was like really the only dude that I'd be willing to take on, because I actually think Marmoush actually does have quality, and the way that De Zerbi uses his forwards, I actually think it would actually favor Marmoush a little bit. So I'm actually okay with that. But hold on real. But what I will say though, to get back to Savinho real quick, for the first couple weeks, I wouldn't mind him playing on the right until we actually get Kudus and Kulusevski back in the fold. And so from that standpoint, I'm actually fine with him playing the right until starting the season for a couple weeks on the left.
I see him playing as a number 9, or I see him playing behind Solanke.
So is this Marmoush?
No hard and fast rules, Zeus, that we have to play with a 10, just in case Madison.
You can.
I don't,
Sorry, Adrian, who did you say you see playing behind Solanke? Or?
Marmoush, he could play behind or he could go out front.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, sorry to kind of jump in here, but
no, I was coming to you anyway.
Okay, good. So the Marmoush I know, he's not a traditional number 9, which
Correct.
is, and I would have preferred, just from how we played last season and how the lineup is looking, I would have preferred a traditional number 9. Like maybe like a Richardson goes out and we get a traditional number 9. Even this thing about Gakpo coming in, I'm playing up front, I'm not 100% on board with that as well. But the manager, De Zerbi is the manager, of course, and he, obviously he knows what he wants to do. But personally, I'd have preferred a more traditional number 9 to be our striker.
Well, you've got that more in Solanke. I mean, like what Eintracht Frankfurt, he played through the middle with Ekitike, right? They played through the middle, and he smashed it with goals and stuff like that. Right? Okay. He was never going to play through the middle at City, not when you got Haaland there, right?
Okay, all right.
So he's more of, look, we were talking of getting Krupian and all that, right? He's more of that sort of a player, and his Zerbi ball, when he likes a striker, like say, a younger Ollie Watkins that could run in behind or get through the middle on a through. This is more the type, not the number 9 like you're saying. He's not, no way. He's not like an old-fashioned traditional number 9. He's not. Solanke's more of a number 9 than even Richarlison is to me, but he'll be going, I should imagine.
Actually, sorry. So his tenure at City was more unusual as opposed to what he did at Frankfurt. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He played wide.
Okay.
Thing is, though,
well, he may have played through the middle, but I don't watch City games, so if you can tell me in the chat.
The thing is, though, we said you prefer a traditional number 9. There isn't many traditional number 9s out there that are pretty decent.
Correct.
Correct. Unless we go for an Osherman, which will take us to another level, in my opinion. Yeah. The next level down to a number 9 that we're looking at, they're just, in my opinion, are just not good enough. So, and a lot of teams play with like a false 9 now. They play with Dembele and stuff, and other teams they play with a false 9. So unless you're signing the Haaland, the Kane, and the Oshermans, the next level down is such a dramatic fall. I don't think I want to go to that level. I think it'll take us backwards.
Maybe.
That's a good point. Good point. Right. Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Anthony. My channel's Tottenham Therapy, but it's Anthony.
He's not been going long, so we're trying to boost him up, right?
Anthony, there is something to that, because the striker market is absolutely terrible right now. Because I mean, if you're a team that's got a 20-goal striker in your roster, you're not going to be willing to sell them, even if a team comes in and tries to blow you away, because of the fact that it's going to be hell trying to replace that type of production. And so teams are usually going to take those players down to a year left on their contract, try to extend them to up their transfer value. So if they do have to move them, they're going to try to maximize their value as much as they can. But the days of where you're seeing prolific goal scorers on the move, as you saw 20-25 years ago, those days are gone.
But that's what I said. That's what I said earlier. Steve, your name's Steve, isn't it?
Correct.
Steve, yeah, sorry, mate. That's what I said earlier. Like with Savinho and Marmoush, if they were players, if they were starting every week for City and they were banning in goals and assists left, right, and centre, then Man City would never be selling them to us in the first place. So the only reason they are happening because they're not quite good enough for City. So they're the type of players I think we should be targeting for the level we want to get to. But then
shouldn't
to
that
the next level, then maybe we should go for like better players. But at the moment, I think they would improve.
I don't know because of the fact that they're not good enough for City, that should come with a buyer beware attached to it, right? Because that's the thing. It's like, yes, don't get me wrong, Pep Guardiola played a specific style of football that requires precision passing, right? And so from that standpoint, there were certain attributes that Savinho and Marmoush just weren't good enough. But that being said, that also should let you know playing against certain opposition that they couldn't do it, right? We're playing the exact same opposition as City in the Premier League, right? So if they didn't necessarily work out for City against the same opposition that we're playing, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me, but it comes with a little bit of a buyer beware. And I'm not saying that they're going to fail. I'm just saying that for the amount that we paid, me personally, I think we could have gotten far better end return than a guy like Savinho that literally just does not score goals. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
Let me guess. You want to be proven wrong, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I do, actually. I really would love to be proven wrong.
So I hope for your sake and I hope for their sake and for Spurs' sake that they come and they start firing, bans, smashing in goals. And
I do too.
They have a great season.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like the way that I was looking at this offseason is like we knew that we had to drastically improve this attack, but really what we needed from our attacking front four is 30 goals at minimum. Right. And that's across the entire attacking three. So if you're bringing in two wingers and the strikers, they have to at least have that in their CV that they're capable, especially if you're a winger, at least getting to the 10 goal mark. You know what I mean? That was my biggest problem with Mohamed Kudus coming in because he wasn't that type of end product. And now you're kind of hoping that this year is different because we don't have Thomas Frank. And so now it's Roberto De Zerbi, and hopefully he can put those guys in positions to succeed. But that being said, it's like, listen, I care, especially if you're getting Premier League proven players. Like I want to see at least a couple seasons on your CV that proves that you can actually do it. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, Steve, just regarding last season though, like the problem we had was more from the midfield, not generating enough through balls, etc., etc. So in theory, now that we've solved that problem, we should be getting more goals from the front three. So you could throw anyone else in there. So that just pointing that out, that last season, a lot of the issues.
I would agree with that.
Was more in the mid.
I would agree with that.
Right, I want to plug you guys. So Alan, you can find here. He's going to be doing some content shortly. Apparently, Alan's at the top, in the middle of us three. Get over there to Team Tottenham Go. Next to him, you have Ant, Tottenham Therapy, a new Spurs group. I know there's hundreds out there, but get over there and subscribe to his channel. We've got 100 of you viewing us on various platforms, which is very good. And we got Steve here at Stateside Footy. And like all their links are in the comments section as well, because I hear that it's easier to copy them if you want to go over and subscribe to their channels. While we're out there, I'm going to plug my channel, Spurs Dives TTID. I mean, like,
I'll subscribe to you boys. So yeah,
make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
So, if you like the content, guys, you can see the rotating banner below, which links us to. I mean, Spurs Dives have got a massive Facebook group, but those people over there don't seem to like XCOM or YouTube. There's about 14,500 more on the Facebook group. There's 5,000, nearly up to 5,000 on XCOM, and we've got we're approaching 1,500 here. If you like the content, it's free, guys. There's a lot of you out there. It only takes less than a minute to subscribe to me or these other guys. Please get over there and hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We go out every Friday night at 10, every Sunday at 9. And if there's a midweek game, I might cover it, because we did while we were in Europe, but we're not going to have many midweek games this year. So get over to those channels, guys, and we appreciate your support, as do the other guys here with their channels. Yeah. So let's go back to where we were. Now I'm going to go through the comments, see if anything for you. Oh yeah, we've got Charlton League One, right? It's about time we jog on. Yeah. Like I say, I mean, fans shouldn't be obsessed with the money or the fact that we get our pants pulled down. I mean, that's a joke, isn't it? It's another dig at us, really, isn't it?
Again, we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. If we don't spend, of course, it's just same old Tottenham. And then when we do spend, they question us, where are they getting the money? How can they do this? Are they, they're overspending on everyone.
Yeah.
There's just like, just leave
Crazy.
us alone, man. We're doing what we're doing. We are like the fiscally responsible team out there. And if anyone can overspend, it could be Tottenham, because we've done everything right. No 115 charges, no questionable, warlord is our, buying all of these players and whatnot. We did it right.
Spurs King, this 100 mil, it's euros, mate. It's 75 mil, 10 mil add-ons with it. And I think it's also a soft on the price for Mamouche. Right, so it's Frankfurt don't get no sell on money. King Otto, what gives you? Go on.
We're like we were saying earlier, we're in everyone's heads all the time, like constantly. That's why I'm stick by that we're a massive club, because if we weren't that big, like everyone says we're not big and all that stuff. If we weren't that big, then why is everyone so obsessed with us? But you know what? It used to bother me, this whole. I've had banter from it for years. I've got bloody Man United mates, Arsenal mates, all that stuff. I've had all this, and now I'm like, you know what? You can't really change everyone's opinion. No matter what we do, everyone will have something to say about it. And at the end of the day, they can do one for like a.
Well, there was a great picture, and it's got to be Jimbo from Kate and Jim. So big up to them for their channel as well. And it looked like a picture of Jimbo. And the songs like, Harry Kane, he scores when he wants and all this. We are Tottenham. We spend what we want. We spend what we want. It was hilarious. Like, it was brilliant. Like,
Kate was actually on, she was on Talk Sport today. I heard her on Talk Sport.
Yeah, I heard her on Talk Sport as well.
For drilling Gabby and Alex Cook. It was brilliant.
Yeah, she gave it to Abby, didn't she?
Yeah.
At Bonham, she gave it to him. Right. So I thought,
Yeah,
I mean,
actually heard
he's getting on my nerves. I used to love TalkSport, and I've stopped listening now because all this stuff they say about Spurs and stuff. And in the end, I'm like, even Simon Jordan. Look, Simon Jordan used to stick up for Spurs all the time when Daniel Levy was in charge, because they're mates. The moment Levy goes, suddenly he's got an issue with Spurs. How are they able to spend all this money? And I'm like, you weren't saying that bloody a few months ago. You were saying how big Spurs were and all this stuff. It's all because of his mates with Levy. That's all that is.
Well, with Talk Sport, I mean, like, you're probably like me then. I'll turn it on now and again when I'm doing stuff on it, which is more important to me, right? And getting feed stuff, news and information to give you guys facts, or videos to post to you guys as well. You flick on a channel, Talk Sport now and again. I've got Classic FM on more than anything else, but just to think, is there anything interesting going? Now, you get something interesting out of Simon Jordan. And it talks sense, whether you agree with them or not. Then you get the others come on, they just waffle, don't they? Just talk absolute shite, right?
I mean, sorry, this discussion of like Spurs are not as big as Villa, and it's a bit mad, because we make more money than them. We've finished consistently higher than they have.
And we've got
someone say that
fan base 100 million larger than them. Our fan base worldwide is something like 310 million, right?
Yeah.
For an unsuccessful club.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Well, and then when you also look at the historical context, when it comes to between the two clubs, and it's not really even close, right? I mean, Villa really wasn't shit until about 6 years ago when they got promoted again from the Championship, and from there on, as soon as they end up getting Unai Emery, they've kind of kicked on a little bit. But let's not confuse them for in a historical context like Manchester United, or in a historical context like some of the best football clubs in England. It doesn't even compare. It's like comparing like Tranmere to Tottenham. It doesn't even rate.
Yeah, the thing with Villa is they class themselves as a massive club because they won the European Cup bloody million years ago. It's like Forest. They don't about massive clubs.
Very early in their history, going back in the 1900s, they did win 5 or 6 titles or something. But I mean, we won 18 trophies. I think they might have won a couple more, but you're really going back a long time for a lot of their trophies as such. They have won the European Cup. I remember when Tony Barton took over for Ron Saunders when he jacked and like he won, and they were a good team then, Villa. But they're not bigger than us fan base wise in any way, shape, or form, revenue wise, or anyway. It's like a lot of clubs like to think that. I mean, I feel the same way about Chelsea as well. You know, because before Abramovich won it, and they've cheated to all their trophies. But I don't know what their worldwide fan base is. I mean, they were winning trophies on a regular basis under Abramovich, so it probably went up considerably. But I just consider them as cheats, as I do Man City. And I'm less against Man City than I have against Chelsea. You know,
this is
I said the same earlier, didn't I, about Man City? I said, I think we're bigger club than Man City. We're like historically bigger. They've been successful since they've had their owners. They've won more trophies, but historically, I think I stand by it. We're bigger than Man City. I don't care what anyone says. We're bigger than Man City. Right?
That's a bit of a stretch, but going to the Villa.
I've had debates with people. No, but what defines a big club? Does it define the last 20 years?
No, it defines everything about them. I think it does. It's not just about winning trophies. You know, you're a big club. That stadium creates 3,000 jobs in a poor area, right? You've got a history. You've got the fact that Spurs were pioneers of total football, which I could go in a historical lesson, but not here, right? There's so much more involved in a football club than it is, you know, that makes it a big club. If you went on trophies, obviously Man United and Liverpool got the biggest pedigree. Man United have won about 70 trophies, you know. Don't know how their fans can remember them, right? You know, Liverpool again 6 European Cups against Man United's 3, right? So they have got the biggest, you know, they've got the biggest pedigree in English football. So it's undeniable, right? So, but then you are looking. Well, then you know Everton and us and that. Well, we're all probably in the same mix after that, you know. So
fair. Sorry, Steve, I just saw your comment about Troy Deeney, and you're right. He is one of the worst. Like,
yeah, he's at a proper Spurs, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been going off. What did he say? That the windows
we're worse this year than we are last year.
Yeah. Very.
That's gotta be the worst football take in 2026.
Yeah,
and it's well, this is also the same guy who what was it? Thought Wrexham made a mistake by spending the money last year and they were going to go straight down. It's like, dude, listen, man, I don't know what sport you're watching. I really have no idea. Like, I don't get it. Right. So it's, that being said, it's like a lot of these pundits have their favorite teams that they grew up with. Right. So from that standpoint, they're equally just as a fan as everybody else. And so, the unfortunate thing is like when you get to that level of broadcast, you kind of have to be a little bit, not biased about
provocative.
Your club team, right? So
I think something happened when we didn't go in for him, and he got the and he's gone off to Saudi. Yeah. There's all the betting and all that other. Something happened. We wouldn't do the deal. Something happened. He probably wanted to come then, but we wouldn't do the deal, and like no one else went in for him.
Sorry, who's this?
You get these rumors going around. He had the gambling issues, didn't he?
You know about Deeney?
Yeah.
We were in Deeney?
We were interested at one time, yeah.
Oh,
I think something's happened. Unless I'm wrong and this just come up because he just wants to be another provocative presenter on TalkSport like Cundy and O'Hara are, and they change with the wind. 1 minute Cundy's O'Hara's slagging us off. Now we're doing some. Now we're getting.
Do you mean Cundy?
I don't mind Cundy. Cundy is my comedy value. That's what he's about. Like and he's just trying to wind up O'Hara. I don't mind those two there. That's good. That's good radio. It's good radio to me. It's funny.
I love the. I don't like O'Hara in general. I think he's a bit of an idiot, but I love it when he says like once something happens to Spurs, once good happens, he's like Spurs are back.
Yeah,
and he says on the radio, and then Candy's like, here we go again.
Basically. He's just a two-faced hypocrite, guys. My take on Savinho Marmoush. Obviously, we've negotiated at the same time. We wouldn't have gone away. We would have stayed there and negotiated for both deals. That's why they will both happen. I think, we'll announce them one after the other because it's good PR, and it gives the club something to tell us, doesn't it, as well?
Mhm.
So I didn't think Savinho, even if he got signed on Monday, would only be on the bench for the Brentford game. But Alan, when do you expect we see them? Do you think it's a good time to see them against Charlton on Wednesday in the Carabao Cup?
Yeah, I do. As far as not having time with the club, playing with the players that they're going to be playing with, you kind of make up for that because you're playing a championship side. They get to, hopefully they could run the score up a little bit, and gain some confidence. At that point, I was agreeing. We were talking earlier about this, that I'm in agreement that we want to see the first team players play against Charlton, not the second stringers, because there's nothing like game time. It's very important to have game time regardless of who you're playing against. And building confidence in this club, confidence breeds wins. So, regardless of who we're playing, you can only beat what's in front of you, but you can beat them badly. And hopefully that's the case against Charlton. It's the first home game, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like, I've got it here for those of you that aren't viewing this and just listening. Spurs versus Charlton, second round Carabao Cup, Wednesday the 20th of August, 7:45. So it's a midweek night game. Tickets £25 for adults, 5p for juniors. Just on that, for the Hoffenheim game, I was there at the stadium, the friendly. There was 54,340 at that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Huge for a friendly game.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the prices, I see so many families there, right, who probably can't afford to pay my ticket's 1,300 quid a year, right? So can't afford, what's that, 70 quid a game or something. And to see all these kids, like I'm talking about 5 and 6 year olds in Spurs kits, right, either the white one or the away trip, it's brilliant. Like, it just shows how football's become a family game, and like lots of women and girls are really into it now, so which is good. It's all good because they're our future fan base.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's that on Charlton. Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be definitely a good time to blood Marmoush and Savinho in that game against Charlton.
Yeah, I would agree. The interesting thing about this Carabao Cup run is going to be the way that De Zerbi actually approaches it once we get to that fourth stage in the Carabao Cup. And, at that stage, I'm just kind of curious about how he's going to approach this, because at the end of the day, I think this would be a great season, to pick up a cup somewhere along the lines, right? I guess you can say a statement of intent that this is not just the first year of a project, but it's also a first year where you want to lay down a marker to the rest of the Premier League that the Spursy brand is dead and buried, right? So I don't know, man. Like, I'm looking at the season as something that's going to be potentially special. But that being said, especially considering I have a feeling this isn't going to be the only moves that are going to get done before the end of the window, right? So from that standpoint, I'm kind of looking at the first and second round, or the second and third round of the Carabao Cup as very good opportunities to get some of these new guys their feet wet. So yeah, I agree 100%.
It's going to be strong lineups because the squad's improved. It's going to be strong lineups. I mean,
but I like the depth. I'm actually starting to appreciate the depth of this team too, because like when he rotates, there's not going to be a massive drop off, in talent, as we've seen over the last couple of seasons. When we actually rotate, it almost looked like a championship team at times during that last year of Ange, and then of course last year under Thomas Frank. So that's what gets me a little happy about it.
Sorry.
So Sorry, one thing, please. Sorry to interrupt. What I like about defence is that I think that's the most unpredictable position with the defence on who can play, because Van der Ven, Senesi, Van Heck they're all regulars or starters, aren't they? And then they've got Robertson and not Doggy can compete.
These are the defenders we've got.
So the defence is, I think it's quite hard to pick, but the rest of the positions sort of pick
What about
themselves.
Ben Davis?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, though, right? We actually have a legit backup left center back, right? So if you do want to rotate Van de Ven off, you got Senesi, so you're not forced to play a Ben Davis. That is like you're in case of an emergency, right? Like if all else fails, if people got injured, then you'd have to play Ben Davis. But we're actually deep now across the center back position. And it looks like we're going to be deep off that left side as well too. So this defense is vastly improved over the last 2 seasons.
Ben Davis, I mean, he should. Sorry, mate. Sorry, one thing.
Go ahead.
He should, he's been at the club for so long. I can imagine the year's 2050, and he's just signed a new contract, a new 1 year extension and then he'll get to he shouldn't be here. But fair play. He's been a great servant and stuff, but. He should be here, but carry on. Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, but I just want to say, speaking of the depth, I mean, it must mean that we have to ship out at like 3 to 4 players, doesn't it? Like,
yeah,
the squad is massive.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that as well, Zeus. I'll stay with you on that. Actually, on the we'll talk about that now, because a lot of people were confused about this. Right, this is the foreign quota and homegrown quota. Right now, as we stand, Zeus, these are the 17 we've got. Right. That's with Xavi and Odobert injured. Now, if you bring in Marmouche and Savinho, we've now got 19, right? Now, okay, Xavi and Odobert won't be added to registered with the squad till January, but you'd still be, if you wait, you're going to be lumbered with that problem in January of getting it down to 17. If you bring in Gakpo, you've got 20. So you've got to get rid of 3 players, right? So my take would be Richie, Sarr, Bergvall for 50 or 60 mil, or then, to me, then Bentancur goes, right? And if you bring it, and then you've got the issue, we've only got 7 homegrown: Austin, Madison, Gallagher, Solanke, Danso, Davis, and Dane Scarlett. So none of these can go, because if you're one down going to Europe next year, and we're going to get Europe, I think we safely say we're going to get Europe. That's what we're building, right?
I wouldn't go I'm not putting my
Thomas Frank.
I'm not putting the
Well, you don't think we're
the card.
You would hope.
We only had to get 4 more wins last season, and we'd have been in Europe. 4 wins, and we only won 3 home games.
Right, but we've also suffered massive injury crisis the last 2 seasons. For whatever reason, we can't seem to stay healthy, and if that happens again, you can kiss that ship goodbye.
With 1 game a week, though, I don't think the injury film will be as big.
You hope.
Now I've said that Savinho and Marmouche will turn up, trip over a bit of blade in the grass, be out for the season.
Yeah.
Let's knock on.
So like, if you look at that, like the foreign quota here, you're looking at, Sarr here, obviously Richarlison to be the first. You need to get a 3rd player out. That's really got to be. We know he likes Bergvall, but if you get 50, 60 mil offered him, or 50 with 5 minutes, you take the money and run, as far as I'm concerned, right? Yeah. So you're looking at like Bergvall and Bentancur as well, even though Bergvall's younger. So like,
I think De Zerbi just said that Bergvall's staying for the season, right? I think he publicly just said that. So you're kind of looking at Sarr, you're looking at Richarlison.
Yeah, this is why I don't take no notice of we'll get another foreign player and we'll get a right back in, and like, no, we won't, because the foreign quota is what constrains you here, right? We need to have 17. We've got 17. We get Savinho and Marmouche, that's 19. We get Gakpo, and that's 20. We have to get it down to 17. And then if we get into Europe, because we've only got 7 homegrown, that foreign quota drops down to 16. So now you've got to get rid of a 4th player. So then you're talking about Bergvall then, right?
My only issue with getting rid of Bentancur is you're taking away from that defensive midfield position. And since
Yeah.
we're not bringing in another right back, and Archie Gray is going to play that position.
Well, who do you get rid of then, Steve?
Well, that's a great question, right? But that
Once
being
you've got
said,
Star and Richarlison, you've only got. We know clubs are coming in. They're going to come in strong for Bergville now. They are.
No, I get it. I
get
get
rid
it.
of
It's just you're going to be asking Archie Gray to play two different positions throughout the season, right? You're asking him to back up at the DM, and then you're also asking him to back up at right back as well too. Now, granted, he's only 20 now, so it's like, yeah, he probably could do that, but you would like to be in a position where you have two across the board at every position. That's a great question. I have no idea who you get rid of.
We see Junai Byfield do it in the European game against the German side, and he didn't take no crap. Mind you, Junai Byfield built like a brick shithouse, right? So, and then you see Malachi Hardy play at right centre back, composed as hell. He can play at right back as well if need be.
Thing is, like when you said apparently De Zerbi's come out and said that Birdville won't be gone. I think everyone is up for sale if the right price comes in, and if we get a £60 million offer for Birdville, which we want, I don't think we'll turn it down. I think we'll accept it.
I would probably agree with that. Yeah, you're right.
I think I saw a bid from by Everton for Richarlison. I think it was about 30 million. Or the club wants 30 million. Can't remember.
That's 30 million. Isn't that 30 million euros they've bid then?
The club
Spurs want 30 for him, and I think Everton offered 13.
No. The club wanted 35 million, right?
There you go.
But
35.
The whisper was they would take 25, right? Which is like, pounds, right? So, and when you think, as we all know, there's a lack of strikers out there. It's not a question of what we think, Richarlison's worth, and we know we don't want him at the club, right? It's a question of market prices dictated. There are no strikers out there. If you were a Coventry or a Hull City coming up, and he was going to keep you up with his goals, you're paying that money for him. And it's not a fortune for a striker. It's
not Hull City, but yeah, I hear you.
No, I think Everton's favourite, right? So
he wants to stay in England, and I think Everton, he's loved at Everton. Fans love him. He loves that club. So that's the perfect destination for him.
Moving on. Zeus, Gakpo, right? Waiting on Liverpool to get probably Barcola in and maybe a Brim of whatever as well, the young winger at PSG as well. We've agreed terms with the player, apparently. But, I don't believe Spurs, now that we get those two in, there's less chance of Liverpool holding us to ransom. He's got better stats than the two players we're bringing in, right? But I don't think there's any chance of Liverpool charging us the earth for Gakpo simply because we can now look elsewhere. We've got two players in. We can now go for Nusa, shoulder up. We could go for Said El Mala. We could go for Azazula at Real Betis or whatever. Gotts, I think, is gone now. There are loads of wingers out there, though. Depends if De Zerbi wants this player and whether his intention is to play him through the middle or not.
Yeah, to me, when you start, if he comes in, Kudus goes to might play in the 10, and I really like the way the team is looking now, where Kudus is on the right, up front potentially Marmoush, Solanke, whatnot, Savinho on the left. Going for Gakpo, I think we're getting into greed territory with Liverpool going to get Isak when they didn't really need to have to, and then there was chopping and changing. TK, where does he play, etc. I don't think we need Gakpo the way the team is set up. Odegaard, he's going to come back. I think it's November actually, but he's very young and there's flashes there. Tell too as well. You're going to really hurt the development of these guys unless the plan is to ship them out or send them out on loan in the near future. But I don't want to be in the greed because I saw what happened to Liverpool last season and it wasn't good at all. So I would prefer that we didn't, to be honest.
Yeah. Alan, what's your take on Gakpo? Are you a fan?
He's pretty good. He's not the top, but he's certainly not a scrub. He's a good player. I'm not sure where he fits in for us though. Where does he play? Is he
Off the
playing?
left. He starts off the left.
He starts off the left.
Yeah.
So he would be competing with Tell and Savino.
You would start over Savino. And
think
Tell
Tell
and because of that, hold on real quick. And because of that,
Right.
when Odegaard comes back, he actually gets to develop, and there's not going to be pressure on Odegaard to actually play a ton of minutes. He actually gets to come back at the right time instead of being rushed. But it also allows Baptiste Tell to go back to his natural position, which I think long term, he's actually better playing his natural position. That actually gives you better striker depth as well too, and it actually gives you two natural lefties, 1 and 2 on the left side, and you don't have to chop and change and move players to different positions, because when Kudus comes back, he's on the right, and then when Kulusevski comes back, those two are going to be competing off the right hand side. And so now you actually have depth at both wing positions.
And Savino can play on the right as well, which he has done pre-season.
Sure.
I wonder if Tell will stay. I wonder if Tell will stay there if he's we bring Gakpo and Savino in. Tell wants to play first team football, and if he's not getting it, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced he'll stay at Spurs.
Well, the likes of him and Bergvall, if they stay, if they decide to stay, they're young enough. I think like what De Zerbi said to Bergvall says, look, you'll get game time. Stick with us to January and see what you're doing. And actually, those players like Tell and Bergvall, although Tell has progressed, in my opinion, he has progressed, right? But they've got to progress further. If they do, then it's more competition for places. And then like De Zerbi has the issue of like, because Tell's 21 already, Bergvall's still 20 though, right? So then he's got the issue, well, do I keep them? Do I sell them? I mean, we've been spending a lot of money. That's why I think Bergvall may still go. Especially now De Zerbi knows he's getting his players. He's now thinks, well, okay, I can afford to let Bergvall go now. We're bringing 2 in. If we go, I mean, if you bring Gakpo in as well, is Bergvall going to play? You know,
probably not.
It depends on who he wants on the left. I mean, and how he's going to play Mamouche, as Steve alluded to. I mean, like, is he going to play Mamouche on the left? Does he want him to play in a sort of like withdrawn 9, false 9 behind a striker or whatever? You know, does he want it to play on the right? And if you're paying that money for players, they're not coming here to sit on the bench, right?
No,
they're not, right?
Correct.
Well, the front three of Gakpo, Marmouche, and Kudus is a pretty formidable front three, I would think.
It's solid.
Yeah, it's very good. Very good. Yo, Gakpo scores goals. Like he's actually like one thing.
Yeah, I know.
Gonna score.
That's why I like Gakpo. He scores goals.
He scores goals.
I don't see the criticism of Gakpo at all. I see Spurs fans saying on social media that they're not really fascinated with Gakpo, and I'm like, in my eyes, I'm thinking, who do we think we are? We finished 17 2 years in a row.
He's an upgrade. He scores
No,
goals.
because they bought into this hype that Savino is the second coming of Christ. That, you know, this is going to be the guy that's going to fix all our problems. So they have and this happens all the time with Spurs fans. They grab a hold onto a player and they rate him so much that anybody else is like, Gakpo. And it's like, yeah, Gakpo was like one of the biggest linchpins in that Jurgen Klopp attack. It didn't necessarily go without him. Now there was more important players, but without the contribution of Gakpo, they don't necessarily have the success that they have at Liverpool. He was what I like to call an underrated killer. He never got the press because you always had other guys you had the Mo Salahs, and then you had Diaz, and you know, you had some absolute killers. But Gakpo in his own right is an absolute savage.
Yeah.
I've got to go, Adrian, anyway, but big up for having me on.
I'll see you Sunday. Right, you're coming on Sunday, yeah?
Nice to meet you, man.
Guys. Alan, Zeus, and Steve, nice to meet you. And yeah, I'm sure I'll see you again at some point, yeah?
For sure.
Yes.
Sure. Nice meeting, man.
Sounds
Take
good.
it easy, guys.
Take it easy,
Yeah.
gentlemen.
See you Sunday. Let's move on to this, guys. Brentford away. Predictive lineup. Now, normally we start, for those of you, the 100 of you listening and watching on various platforms, we usually start with the goalkeeper, do the fullbacks, do the centre backs, do the midfield, do the attack, right? So, Zeus, Obviously, it's Kinksky in goal. Who's your fullbacks? Now, let me fill you in first because I don't like trick questions. Porro and VDV didn't train today, right? Or if they did, it was on the quiet. But Maddison did. Okay. So, Kinksky in goal. Who's your fullbacks, Sus?
So it's gonna be Senesi and Van Hekken and Gray and Udogi as the back four.
Okay.
Is he paying a back? Do you think he's playing a 4 or a 3?
I don't think it matters.
I'm
This is
thinking-
the thing fans are going on about. We'll come on to tactics after this, and I'll tell you what I've picked up on Deserby ball, right? So, okay, you're giving us a complete back four. Not Robinson, then Udogi, yeah?
Yes, Udogi.
Okay. He's been keeping him back. I saw him training. I'm sure I saw him training in a training video. Steve, give us the back four then, as Zeus has done a back four.
I agreed with Zeus on Senesi and Van Hecke. That makes the most sense at this stage. My outside backs are Archie Gray off the right and Robbo off the left.
Alan?
I think I agree with the center backs, and I think he'll have Archie Gray on the right.
Give
I
it to
think
me,
he
Alan.
may-
Give it to me.
I do think he's going to have Robbo start. I think because Udogi, I don't know if he's 100% ready to go. He might substitute in the, at a later point. But I think Andy Robertson starts.
I agree. I agree with that back four, guys, because if Udogi comes on, looks like he'll come on second half as a sub.
Yeah.
If Robbo runs his nuts off, then we can bring on fresh legs, right? So, yeah, I'm all for that. Okay, I'll stay with you, Al. We go reverse order. Who's your midfield three? That's the two, and whether we're playing with a 10 or not.
We got Tonali, we got Madison, and Fernandez, I would think.
Yeah. Steve?
Well, I don't know, I hear you when Madison's training, and that's great. And I would like to think that Matter starts, but I'm going to go with Tonali. I'm going to go with Fernandez, and I'm going to go with Gallagher at the 10 to start, and then we'll see Madison in the second half.
Zeus, you going different? You giving Bergvall a game here or not?
No, it's gonna be a while before we see him. I'm thinking. Gotta be honest, man. We got a lot of players. Yeah, probably gonna be Madison, Tonali, Fernandez. Right, that's
Yeah.
what I see.
Yeah, I would go for those three. If Madison, they've been saving him, he was training. So
yeah, I mean, if he's ready to go, then yeah, Madison all day long. But if he's going to hold him out and make sure that he comes back 100%, you know what I mean, like to make sure there's no doubt, I can possibly see a start for Gallagher in this one.
Just talk about Bergvall for a little bit before we go on the front three. I watched the Hoffenheim game, and he did have a good game. But Bergvall has his habit of giving the ball away in critical positions at times. And who am I to critique De Zerbi? Because he started well, we're unbeaten in pre-season, but that doesn't really mean a thing going into the season. I just thought that because there's a bit of a risk element with Bergvall's decision-making and wanting to take the ball too far, I'd like to have seen his role reversed with Gallagher. I'd like to have seen Gallagher alongside Tonali and Bergvall in front, where if he lost the ball in a 10 position, it's not as critical as losing it in midfield, right?
Right,
so,
right.
But then, who am I? Who am I to critique De Zerbi? Although I will if he gets things wrong during the season. We all will, because that's what we're here for, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You make a good point about Bergvall, and the thing is, I love me some Lucas Bergvall. You can see the ceiling, and you can see the tools that he has. The problem is he's so still young, and he's still
not
so
even
raw.
ready.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, exactly. He's so still raw that sometimes he plays with blinders on, and sometimes sometimes he's not aware of what's around him. And especially tomorrow at the GTech, The issue is like Brentford is not a crap team. Brentford is a very good disciplined team that knows how to pay, knows how to make you pay when you cough up the ball in the midfield. And I actually enjoy Brentford's attacking front four. I actually think they're pretty good. And this is not the game where you actually kind of want to use a guy like Bergvall unless you're 100% that he's over some of the some of those things that made him obviously raw. But I don't. That's the thing I don't like about the idea of selling Bergvall is because the kid is going to be an absolute complete player like in 3 years. 4 years, like once he reaches that stage where he's about to hit his prime, you're going to see the quality in Bergvall as soon as he gets those reps and he gets those minutes. But that being said, it's like in the context for tomorrow, it's like you kind of have no choice but to play the two guys that you spent 185 million pounds on, right? Because you absolutely have to be able to control those small areas in the middle of the pitch, especially if you're trying to progress the ball forward quickly. You kind of need trusted hands in order to operate that midfield diamond. And so from that standpoint, it's like you're not going to give Bergvall minutes unless you're in the second half and it's the 70th minute and you're up by 3. You know what I mean?
Mm. Alan, who's your front three?
I mean, the front three against Hoffenheim did pretty well, right? They did. So I'm assuming
Richie and Mikey Moore, yeah?
Yeah, that's those three. Is Mohamed Kudus playing? Are we assuming that he's fit and ready to go?
No.
I think he's still a few weeks out.
I think you won't see Kudus and Kudus maybe until I'll be surprised if halfway through December. I'm confident they'll both be back by the end of September.
Then I'm probably seeing Tell on the left, Richie in the middle, and maybe Mikey Moore on the right.
It's virtually they've virtually said Mikey Moore starting.
Mm-hmm.
He got 2 goals. If he smashes it at Brentford,
Tell got those two.
Derby a nice headache.
They look good together.
Yeah, they might have to cancel the loan move to Cologne or Cologne. Yeah. Zeus, who's your front three?
Yeah, I mean, Tell's definitely going to start. Richarlison in the middle. If somehow Savinho gets all wrapped up, and I guess his versatility without put him on the right, but most likely, like Alan said, it's going to be.
He would have had to been registered and work permitted by 12 o'clock today UK time, and we're now nearly 12 hours past that. So he's only going to be done for Charlton, basically.
Wait. Do we know that he's not registered? Do we?
No, he's not. Well, they would have announced it.
Oh, they would have said it. Okay, fair enough. Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, okay, so probably he's not going to be available, so probably more than.
He's probably done his medical and all that, but you still got a registered player, and he has to get another work permit, even though he had one at City.
Yeah.
So
probably more than.
Steve, same front three?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Savinho. Like, is he going to be registered for tomorrow? I don't think so, because I think they had to get that done yesterday in order for that to happen. So, front three, Tell off the left, Richie up the middle, and then Mikey Moore off the right.
Okay. I want to bring up the issue of goals after we've done the little score predictions. What's the score going? Oh, before we do the scores, let me give you the head-to-head. We've played Brentford 10 times in the Premier League. We've won 5, drawn 4, and lost 1. Oh, wow. At Brentford, we have won 1 and drawn 4.
Oh, right? Wow.
So we haven't lost at Brentford. We lost 1 game at the stadium, I think. Yeah. So
last year, right? Yeah. Last year at home against Brentford, correct? Or that was a draw, wasn't it? At home,
I think when we lost 1-0 or something. It was either 1-0 or 3-2. I don't know what his figures think. Anyway, doesn't matter. We lost 1 at home, like I say. So we've won 5 and drawn 4. So if you're one that believe in lucky grounds, I mean, we seem to have the Indian sign over Man City. They do beat us, but we do seem to beat them like twice for every time they beat us. You know what I mean? So What's your feeling? I mean, we're feeling confident with the signings, but the signings won't be playing, right? So, but what's your feeling on the score, Al?
G-Tech. So we're at the G-Tech, right? Is that?
Yeah.
I still think we're going to win. So I'm going 2-1.
Well, on that, I think in the games we've played, we're 12 goals, 4 and 5 against Brentford, which is roughly 2-1 anyway. Zeus, give us a score.
I mean, that's the scoreline I had, 2-1 to us.
Okay.
We definitely won't lose. That I'm confident we won't.
So that kind of leaves the door open for a draw as well too. That's awesome. Hedging your bets a little bit.
Yeah.
We actually do well in the opener, whether we're whether we're at home or whether on the road, right? That kind of seems to be our bread and butter. And I wouldn't put it past De Zerbi and crew to want to hit the ground running and give the supporters something special. I'm also going for a win, and I'm going to say 3-1. And I think Brentford actually scores in the first 15, 20 minutes, and I think it's going to be like some stupid cross to Igor Jesus, and they take an early 1-0 lead. But by the end of the first half, we'll get into the game. We'll equalize right before the half. We'll score 10 minutes into the second half, and we'll get a late one to put Brentford to the sword. And I got Richie scoring 2 goals tomorrow because this is like quintessential Richie. He starts the season on fire, and just like he did last year. And I think the third goal, I'm going to go to my guy Matisse Tell as he gets one late, like in the 70th-ish minute. So yeah, there you go, 3-1 Spurs.
In a lot of the podcasts I've been on during the week, a lot of fans seem to be predicting a 2-2 draw, which, we take that first game of the season just to get going. I'm going 1-1. And the reason I'm going 1-1 is because we're going to be so much tighter defensively. Right? I've been very impressed with Van Heck at the back. Senesi's been okay, but Van Heck has looked like a leader, and he's not even a leadership team. And the midfield pivot, I think we'll have so much of the ball against Brentford, but they are very dangerous on the break. And they've got Shardy and they've got Thiago, haven't they? So they are dangerous. So, and mainly because most of their games have been there a draw as well. It wouldn't surprise me if we won, dominated the game, but you just don't know where you're going to get first match of the season. So yeah, so I'm going 1-1. Okay. 100 of you here. I want to talk about goals, guys, before we finish. I just want to bring up 3 players. I'm going to bring this one up. It's been controversial because he's took his fair amount of stick. Didn't do too bad in his first season, 15 goals when Johnson got 18. So these are actually these are Slanky's stats. 19 goals, 8 assists in 63 appearances, 27 in 63. It's about 2.5 GAs, Zeus. It's not bad. I know it's all competitions.
It's not bad, but I think when we got him from Bournemouth, he scored, I know it was 20 plus, or is it 19, something around there?
I can't remember. Yeah, but it was decent.
He was very good. He was pretty good.
He was at Chelsea and Liverpool prior to Bournemouth, wasn't it?
Yeah. And, I think we expected more of that, maybe closer to a Harry Kane direct replacement. But the thing is, he doesn't stay fully fit for us to properly assess him, right?
Yeah, he scored 19. He scored 19 for
he was fit the first season, though. It's not like he's been at the club 5 years and had loads of injuries. That's not true. I mean, like 2 seasons.
I can't rate him. I can't be like, okay, this guy's got 10 games and scored 6 or scored 2. I just never feel like he's gone like a great stretch where you can probably assess where, his talent level. So I'm still kind of figuring out what his ceiling is and who he is and all of that stuff. But, playing with better, more progressive players this season, he should get more chances to score. So,
Alan, are you
he's kind of gone. I think he drops very deep, and I know that kind of makes it more difficult to to score goals when he's all the way in the middle of the field. And he's trying to progress the ball and he gets it to the wingers. And then I guess he has to make a mad dash to try to get up there to have any kind of effect. You know, and he's been getting injured a lot. I don't know if he's going to have the same kind of performance that he had that first season for us. He might. We have better wingers and arguably a lot more service than our forwards have been getting in previous seasons. So it's possible that he puts in more goals. I just don't. If we get Marmoush, between Marmoush and Richie, I don't know where Solanke fits. I just don't see him playing as much.
Steve, if he's playing, do you see him or even Maddison being allowed to drop back under De Zerbi ball when you've got Tonali and Fernandes behind him?
That would be ideal. That would be ideal, especially when you're operating that midfield diamond. You don't necessarily need Solanke to drop down so deep in order to be effective, right? And I think Alan just brought up a very interesting point, because in his first season, he was battling injuries, but he also was able to play through it. And he also had Sonny playing off the left, and he also had Kulusevski underneath him and Brennan Johnson playing out right, guarding that far post, right? So it allowed him to have at least some semblance of service. But I actually thought that first year was, a good sign for him, because, he was playing hurt for most of the season and still battled to score 15 goals. Last year, he was gone for a good chunk of the season, so he never really got going. But the one thing I will say is that he's in his prime. And so you figure at least for the next 2 years, if De Zerbi can keep him rotated where he's not necessarily asked to play 5 matches in a row, where you can keep him from redlining, so he's not going to be in a position where he's going to constantly pick up a knock and a niggle here and there, and all of a sudden he's out for 2-3 weeks, and then he comes back and he has to start, restop. I think that's going to benefit him. But I will say that, the interesting thing about this is that, me personally, I think that, if Marmoush does come in, I think that is going to be the sign that Richie's probably going to be out the door. And so I would probably assume that both Solanke and Marmoush are going to get a lot of playing time from that standpoint. And that being said, it's like, he's got it in him because he's done it a couple times. He had a 19 and a 15 goal season in back-to-back seasons, right? So it's there. He's done it before, and the likelihood that if he can stay healthy, he might be able to do it again. And this is the interesting thing, right? Because from the striker position, we're going to need at least 30 goals from that position. And if Solanke can produce 15, that's half the equation, right? So from that standpoint, I think it's very doable that he can get to that 15 goal mark again this season. And I think without Europe and the constant need to continue to play him on a week-to-week basis, and you could rotate, I think that in itself is going to pay off in a huge way. The question is going to be service, right? And we'll see exactly what the end result is for this attacking four. But I think, Zeus kind of hit this one in from the midfield positions where you have a Fernandes and a Tonali being able to play, progressive through balls through central areas. I think that's going to also play into Solanke's strengths as well, too, because on the ball, he's actually not bad at all.
Right. I'm going to bring up these next two have been out injured, because we all know how goals have been a concern in this team, right? So Zeus, Maddison, 78 appearances, 16 goals and 18 assists. That's 34 out of 78. That's nearly 1 in 2. Right. I mean, people seem to think like they're preempting the fact, he's going to get injured next year, But we don't know this, do we? Yeah. So your take on this, I mean, that for a 10 or playmaker, these are good stats, even though he's got his critics.
No, I'm excited for him. And obviously there's a lot of quality there. De Zerbi was willing to risk him towards the end of last season, so everyone knows that there's quality there. Hopefully this is a injury-free campaign, and he can really, take it to the rest of the league. I can't remember who it is on TalkSport that's always kind of like digging him out or something like that, and then he responds to kind of thing. But I think he has a lot, like a monkey on his back kind of thing to prove to the rest of the league. Oh, I think someone, I can't remember who it was, but they said you would never win anything with Madison. And when we won, I think he was injured. So, but he still got his kid on to kind of get the medal, and there's a bit of banter back and forth. But I think he really has a chip on his shoulder to kind of prove to the league how good he is, and the stats obviously prove it. And playing with better players, quote unquote, like with Tonali and Fernandez, I think he could really dominate. Yeah, maybe not quite Lampard and Gerrard in terms of their influence in certain games, but I think he could really. I expect him to be that kind of level of player, like when he's really healthy. So that's what I'm hoping to, to see, and I think he will want to see that for himself, like really prove to the rest of the league, and also the fact that he missed out on England and all that stuff. Like he definitely has a chip on his shoulder, I feel.
Alan, on the pitch though, I mean, he commands tremendous respect. So I was wondering, he's part of the new leadership team. Because when he's on the pitch, he's always looking, almost demanding the ball every time, and players always looking to give him the ball. So they know his quality.
Yeah. Well, it's been so long since we've seen that on the pitch. Last season we struggled, as Zeus pointed out earlier, in the midfield, and having James Maddison back certainly strengthens our midfield. I saw someone else in the chat was asking, who's going to take our penalty kicks. Did we even get a single penalty kick last season?
No. Solanke takes them usually, or Maddison.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's going to be Maddison that's going to take them. But yeah, look, everybody loves James Maddison. He's like one of those guys that you can't. He seems like such a friendly, smiley, happy guy who just loves life that he's here at Tottenham. I kind of agree with Steve about James Maddison. If you get the right price for him, move him on. Because we do have Xavi, and Xavi can also do the role. I know they'll be vying for it once Xavi is fit. But I think Xavi's ceiling might be higher than James Maddison's. But he's a great leader. Seems like he cultivated Archie Gray. Now Archie Gray is a part of the leadership team. And the question will just be, can he stay fit? You kind of don't want to play him because I'm
section of our fan base that are just portents of doom, right? These players will get injured, everything's going to fall apart, the world will end, the four horses of the apocalypse are just waiting to turn up.
Because of the last two seasons, you can't help but feel a little nervous about it, but I'm hopeful that he'll be fine. If we get through a quarter of the season and we've staved off injury, severe injury, then I'll feel better about everything, playing him a little more often and whatnot. But I'm curious how much, if he does start tomorrow, how often does he start? How much De Zerbi's going to rotate these players? Who does he put in? Does he swap him out for Gallagher? Does Gallagher start and then Maddison
or Decky?
Well, again, Decky. We all love Decky. The question is Decky going to be the same as he was? That's same with Odebear. Same, anybody that comes back from long-term injury. That's always going to be the question: is are they going to be able to come back to their old self? Madison only had he played once in preseason, I think, and that was pretty much it. So we didn't see, and he didn't really do much in preseason. So
he played in the second game against Hoffenheim as well. Actually, he was at fault with one of the goals, but played in that game. Right?
Yeah. So I just think that he's going to need game time to get back into game shape. But the question is, will he start or will Gallagher start? Gallagher seems to be more ready. He definitely played more during preseason.
Yeah, you could make the argument of Gallagher because we're away from home. Let's go dynamic midfield.
Yeah. But James Maddison has that X factor that Gallagher doesn't.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, they say that like Wilson Odobert is the most skillful footballer at the club and Maddison's the second most. Some would doubt that because we've seen flashes of Odobert. I mean, he came from the PSG academy, didn't he, with Chell, I think, and like, or was it with Chell? And went to Burnley, where Vincent Company raved about him before he left for Bayern. You know, yeah. So, but let's come on to this guy that everyone's written off, Steve. Kulusevski, 25 goals, 26 assists, and 147 appearances. That's a 1 in 3 GA. For a wide winger, that's exceptional. You have to go to Salah and Son, really, to get better GA, you know? And I'm sure he hope he comes back. And knee injury is not an ACL. So, I mean, like, and the reason I brought these players up is because whether you don't like Solanke, Maddison, or Dayton Setches, they score goals and they assist.
Correct.
And that's what we need that because we don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
from Tonali or Fernandez or Gallagher, we don't know that. You know,
correct. Kulusevski is my favorite player of the last couple seasons because of his end product. But that being said, it's like he's such a baller. It's the little things that he does, despite the fact that he doesn't necessarily have top end speed. The dude's football IQ is off the charts, and he just always seems to be in the right position to do the most damage. One of the things that I like about Kulusevski that I don't like about Maddison is, and the reason why I said that if somebody came in for Maddison, I would have no problem doing it, is because he's on the wrong side of 30 to be having these type of injuries where you have no idea if he's ever going to regain his form again. And with Maddison, it was 2 out of the last 3 years he suffered major injury where he missed a good chunk of the season. And 2 seasons ago, when he actually was available, he was inconsistent at best. Kulusevski is not that type of player, right? Kulusevski is always consistent, and he's always consistently doing very good things on the ball, whether that is chipping in with an assist or whether he's scoring goals. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time in order to inflict the most damage. The thing that I like about Kulusevski is he's only 26 years old, right? So he's in his mid-20s, he's in his prime, and I fully expect him to recover from this injury. It's all about whether or not how quick he gets to regain his form, because he's got to be able to get into match shape in order to actually get in the games. Then he's going to have a string of games in order for him to regain his form, right? So who knows exactly when that's going to be? Is that going to be in November? Is that going to be in December? Is this more like January, February? Because whenever he gets back and he gets a string of games, that's going to be your new starting right winger once he regains his form, because he's so good, you can't leave him out of the starting 11. It's just like he's that good.
It wouldn't surprise me if Kudus had a subs appearance against Charlton, because they were both training together, running lengths of the picks, hard shooting practice with their left and right feet, which I see. Okay, all right. So now it's a question of like heightening your fitness levels, and then like coming on as substitutes in games. So, Zeus, your take on Kulusevski? Are you a fan?
I mean, I'm definitely a fan, like a huge fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to push back on Steve's, Steve's, I guess, preference, that he would, not preference, but note that he would definitely start ahead of, he's the nailed on right winger. I don't know. I know he's a very different player from Kudus, but I don't know if he's necessarily, once he's healthy, like Kudus has to go to the bench kind of thing. Like they're very different players. Like, and I do love.
But again, you're looking for top.
At one point, right before you come,
you're looking for top.
And that's the fault that, like, I've had a lot of fans say that Kulusevski's slow. He's a big lump. He's got deceptive pace. After you've got VDV 37 point something kilometers an hour, right? Then you go to you doggies, the next fastest, because Spencer's gone, and they were both roughly the same. Then you drop down to Kulusevski, Tonali, and Fernandez. They're at 34 kilometers an hour. The average speed of a Premier League player is 2 kilometers less than that. He is not slow. It's an absolute myth. The problem, but I think fans are deceived by the fact that a lot of the times Kulu's used as an out ball. He's got 2 players on him. We've seen him carry us across the line at Luton when Laughing Gas got sent off, right? I think VDV scored, and Kulu held the ball up for most of the game to get us across the line and win 1-0. You know, he's not slow. It's a myth. It's a myth. But go on, carry on. Sorry.
I mean,
okay.
Here's the thing, right? And listen. There's certain attributes that I like about Mohamed Kudus, but I was never a big fan of him coming in because at the end of the day, again, it's all about end product, right? And if Kudus was the type of guy who wasn't necessarily scoring a ton of goals, but he was also producing a ton of assists and he was consistent with it, that's one thing. But it's a consistency issue with me. Kulusevski is consistent. He is very consistent, whether it is producing assists for goal scorers or scoring for himself, and that is either from the right side or if it's kind of underneath as a late box crasher, as Ange was trying to use him a couple seasons ago, and he was pretty good at that as well too, right? And so it's the ability to play multiple positions if you need him to, but at the end of the day, dude scores goals. And what's the one thing that this club was savagely missing last season was goal scoring prowess, right? And so if you get Kulusevski back and he's in form and he can show that he can pick up where he left off, 100% De Zerbi is going to take the guy that is actually going to put the ball in the back of the net, especially if for whatever reason the 1-2 punch of Marmoush and Solanke, maybe it's just not consistent enough and you're getting it from Kulusevski, you're going to play. It's just as simple as that.
Zeus, you wanted to say something?
In terms of the speed and all of that sort of thing about Kulusevski, to me, it's like his ball retention is like off the charts. Like that stuff doesn't bother me at all.
And his incursions in the penalty are more than any other player.
Exactly. Yeah, he's when he's healthy, he's great. He's fantastic. He's not a maybe traditional winger to run and cross, but some of the stuff he does at a very elite level, like Dembele almost in the middle kind of thing. And I just remember Pep Guardiola really raving and like going nuts about it kind of thing. So yeah, to me he's good, but I guess it would depend on what De Zerbi's looking for that game or how he wants to play. Like if it's just traditional,
he will love him. I think he will love him.
All I'm saying is like Mohamed Kudus should not be set in stone in the starting 11 off the right side. Not when there's a potential to get top end product from a dude like Dejan Kulusevski, because that dude is legit as legit comes.
Alan, anything to add? We're going to go for the chat. If there's any questions, I'll throw them at you guys, right?
No. Looking forward to tomorrow. Looking forward to a good game. Okay.
We'll go through the chat and then we'll end the show. Homegrown, if you do it and lose the legs at club, selling buyer, whereas Tottenham or something like that. Nita, my take on this, and the other guys can chip in, is that if we hadn't brought in Tell, Odebert, Gray, and Bergvall, who are all under 21, and we should do something about this, about not bringing in players that are under 21 at this football club, unless they're a generational talent like Lamar or someone like that, right? And then you would have the pathway. You would have the pathway from the academy through to the first team. It would be there, but at the moment it isn't, Nita. Any of you guys want to say anything about this, or do you agree with me or disagree? It's fair to do that. I won't get the ump, you know what I mean? You know me.
Well, I will say that was what it was looking like. That's what this original product was starting to look like in that last season under Ange Postecoglou, and again a little bit last year as well too. But back-to-back 17th place finishes put this club behind the 8 ball to the point where they couldn't afford another season of giving long-term minutes to players that have great upsides, but they're just not even ready to compete in the Premier League, right? And it's no knock against Bergvall, Gray, Tell, Odebert. I think a lot of these guys are going to go on to fantastic careers and be absolute stone cold killers, but we're in the here and now. And unfortunately, when you finish in back-to-back 17th place finishes and nearly get relegated, your brass to save their job, they're going to spend money, which is what we have done, right? Like, better believe that Vinny Venkatesham and Johan Lang don't want to get fired, right? And so, right, they were put under pressure, put behind the 8 ball. They paid a crap load of money to get De Zerbi through the door, and so now they have to back him. So it's not anything against the young players. And if we actually had a little bit of success in the last 2 seasons, I mean, I guess you can say we did. We won a European Cup, so I guess we did have a little bit of success. But I mean, as far as table wise, if we were kind of like higher mid table with some of those kids, I'm sure that project would have continued on its pace, but it didn't, and here we are.
Well, I'll come back to you with King Odell's question, but to caveat that as well, guys. I mean, like, although less than 1% of academy players from elite clubs come through and actually become a member of a 25-man squad, let alone play for their team, the one truth that comes out of it is that every player that plays in the Premier League came through an academy at some time or other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they do come through, but it's just in the Premier League, it's far easier to go out and fix a problem because you've got all this money. Whereas in Europe, the younger kids get more game time because those clubs in Europe haven't got the money to go and get replacements. So their kids get a better chance of game time. Okay, the question to Steve here from King Odell is, want you in both careers? Yeah, it would have been the better player, Bergvall or Vuskovic. I mean, I would say I was a big fan of Vuskovic. Everyone knows I was gutted when he left the club, right? So
I am too.
Yeah, I mean, but you couldn't knock that sort of money, 40 odd million with add-ons. I mean, like, and we only paid we paid 12.5 million for him from Hedrick split. But
right, I said Vuskovic will have the better early career because he's going to be starting, right? So he's going to have
world class. I think is world class.
I can potentially see it, right? So, like, you know, in the early stages of this, I would probably assume Vuskovic because he's going to have the opportunity to start. He's going to be, an opportunity to develop in a system that is going to play to his strengths. But that being said, I also think Bergvall will be a late bloomer, and we're not going to see the top end until he's 25, 26. And at that point, you're probably going to get a stretch of 5 years with Bergvall, where he also has also potentially has that opportunity to develop into a very, very good midfielder to the point where, yeah, he's going to be playing in multiple World Cups, and I think he's going to have a good career. I think really when it's said and done, I think both are going to have good careers. I guess potentially Vuskovic, but Bergvall's not going to have. He's not going to end up being a journeyman. Like he'll get paid at some point in the next 4 years.
Alan, it's a bit like comparing apples with oranges. We get this on shows all the time, probably just to like, podcasters playing devil's advocate and whatever. But they're not similar players at all. I mean, I used to get it back in the day, and people saying, "Oh, Odell and Liam Brady." You know, well, Odell's the best player England's ever produced. Liam Brady was a fantastic player, and to me, they were both world class, right? But, and I used to say when people used to throw, I said, "Look, both players are great in their own way, and it's the easy way to answer questions when you can't trying to compare two players that are not even similar in any way, and these two aren't similar in any way."
They're not. I mean, they're different roles. Luka Vuskovic is, I think he matured faster. So I think what Steve had said, yeah, exactly that. He was a late. Bergvall is a late bloomer. It probably needs a couple more years to really come into his own, where Vuskovic, I think, is already there. So they're not the same. It's a tough question to answer, again, because it's apples to oranges.
Yeah. Nita, good point you make there, Nita. Good point. Bergvall's not.
I just wanted to chime in.
Zerbi's not having none of that. He said virtually like everyone's got to earn the right to play for my team, basically. Go on, Zeus. Sorry.
Yeah, there was a clip I saw maybe last season, and it was a player from. It was either someone in the championship or one of like the lower level teams, quote unquote, and they were like, he was talking about how good the players at the top 6 are, and he was talking about Bergvall specifically, and he said this guy is incredible. Like they played them, it might have been a friendly or something, and he said they could not lay a glove on him. Like he was just running rings around him. And maybe he hasn't shown that at this level just yet, but just he is super talented. Like he is super talented. A lot of the pros that play are very impressed by him. Just wanted to throw that in there. I forget who it was exactly, but I just remember the guy going like, "You guys think Spurs are bad because they're 17th or whatever? They have some serious talent."
Someone's giving me a big up. Well, I appreciate your big up for the work I put in.
Love a good
We
big
pride
up.
ourselves here on Spurs Dials and making shows interesting. On that, if you give me a big up, subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. As the 100 of you are there. I mean, Alan's and Steve's links are in the comments and on the banners as well. So, like, get over to their channels as well. We're going to go through these and we'll end the show. We're going 2 hours. It's been good fun as usual. It's always a good show, guys, isn't it? I think we slowed him down a bit. Yeah. Well, injuries do that. I mean, medical science has improved. I mean, back in the days when Michael Owen got cropped, it did affect him. He lost pace. But science has improved. Yeah, King Oddle. I mean, I have to agree with Steve here. He is my favourite player at Spurs. He is my favourite player. So,
Yes.
but I just want it to go on the goals level because we're so who's going to score goals for us? And we need 80 odd. You know, if we want to challenge for league, we need 80 odd goals minimum. 2 seasons, Man United out there, 7 league titles. I think they scored 100. I mean, when you look at even with that, we've seriously upgraded the squad. It's been our best transfer window ever.
Yep.
We don't want another one like it simply because that would mean we were back in the mire. What we want is to get European football. And then, although we've upgraded the squad with players that have been players below the elite level, you want elite players, you get Champions League football to attract them.
Right. 70 goals minimum to challenge for Europe, 80 plus if you're trying to challenge for the top 3. 100%. 100%.
And De Zerbi he will want to go for the league title. Whether everything clicks and gels and we can do it this season, I'm confident we can get top 5 though. I mean, but I would take 6th or 7th simply because Europa League football, we can win that competition.
Right. If we finish 5th or if
Been there, done that though.
I understand.
We're not winning the Champions League, not with PSG around and Bayern.
But Zeus, if you told me in De Zerbi's first full season after this transfer window, considering the 2 years of shit that we just went through, and after everything that we've just been through, and in his first season, if you told me that we finished 5th or 6th and we lifted either the Carabao or the FA Cup and we got European, I would take that as a first stepping stone season. That is amazing.
Yes, I would take one of the domestic cups, but the Europa, it's kind of lost its shine to me. We know that it's a bit more, it's not the greatest European opposition. So I'm not, it to me, it was just to quell the you never win a trophy talk. And we did. So
I was having a debate with people and I weren't coming at them hard, but they were saying, oh yeah, League Cup, which is 7 games to win it, because you've got 2-legged semi-final. FA Cup, 6 games to win it. And they were saying, like, oh, the FA Cup's more important with the Europa League. And I'm going, really? What do you base it on? Oh, yeah, well, you got the English teams, the Premier League teams. Once the lesser teams get knocked out, it's hard competition to win. I said, but with the Europa League, you've got 13 or 15 games to win it, right? And your manager he's got to fit those games in with his Premier League games as well. It's a lot more games. And I said, to me, I get where you're coming from, but to me, because you've only got 6 games to win the FA Cup, you might have slightly stiffer opposition. You might meet the weaker teams in the earlier rounds. I said, to me, the Europa League's harder to win. What do you guys think?
Well, it's interesting though, right?
It's
It's interesting because I would say that we really didn't face stiff competition in that Europa League until we actually got to United there in the final. If we're being completely honest about it, and we always seem to hit a roadblock in the cup competitions. You generally right in that 4th and 5th round, especially in the FA Cup. We always seem to get Villa right there in that 4th round. And that's generally where we've been bowing out in that.
It's double the amount of games. I think it's 15 because I think you got 8 games, 4 at home and away. Then you play the next round, then the quarterfinal, then the semi-final, and then the final. If I'm wrong, remind me in the chat because we won it, and I think we played 15 games.
So
to win.
let me ask you guys a question right now with Savinho through the door and allegedly Marmoush, are we better than Manchester United right now?
Are we better than United? I think so, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Are we better than City?
We got more pace in midfield than they've got because
I think we're better than City. I'm not sure.
Haaland, of course.
Is Rodri gone?
Yeah.
Is Rodri gone?
They don't have Rodri anymore. Yeah, he's at Barcelona.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is not.
Are we better? Are we better than Liverpool?
Going?
I think we can beat Liverpool this season. I think they seem to be a struggling team, right? They
need to beef up the defense as well.
City didn't look very good in the Charity Shield. They didn't look very good.
Yeah, but that's one. I mean, when you win the Charity Shield, you get the kudos. Yeah, we beat you and all that. When you lose it, well, it's not important. That's the action of fans, isn't it?
But they were run off the pitch though, so that's a bit different.
The reason why I asked this question is we're going to have to at least beat those 4 teams at least once throughout the course of the season to even be in contention for a top 4 spot. But we also have to play 500 or a little bit better against the rest of the league, and. And that's and number one, that takes consistency. And so I definitely like our midfield. I think it's a lot better. But there's still a question mark about our attacking 4. There's still question marks about it and whether or not they're going to be able to provide the necessary goals. Because again, in order to get to that, even to that Europa League level, we're going to have to score a minimum 70 goals. And I'm looking at this team right now starting the season, and I'm kind of wondering where that's coming from.
But Alan, I mean, we like our manager, right? Obviously, what we've seen, man management, part-time psychologist and all that. And then you think there's 9 new managers in the Premier League, 9 new. Right? Arsenal's got a regular manager.
Chelsea.
This is going to have a big bearing because not any of them 9 are going to win anything, right? Some are going to lose and get the sack.
Coventry and Hull, I guess.
Well, Lampard's going to be there in Coventry. He was there last year. Lampard, I guess you're right. He's new though.
He's new to the Premier League again with this team. Who else is new?
Fulham's got a new coach.
City, Liverpool.
Yep.
Chelsea.
Liverpool have it? Did they? Yeah, they got rid of Slot. That's right.
Chelsea.
What's his name? Bournemouth have to have a new coach.
Bournemouth, Fulham, Crystal Palace has a new coach. Chelsea's got a new coach. We got a new coach. Liverpool,
Man City.
Yeah. And City's got a new coach. Yeah.
Wait, where's Glasner right now? I can't remember where's.
He's with Forest.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've virtually got a new manager.
Yeah, so he'll be
they'll have a new manager by
Eddie Howe resigned from Newcastle, didn't he?
Yeah, and Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle's one too.
That's right, Newcastle. My God.
I suppose, after all the stick we're getting, we're hoping that the Newcastle and Villa managers get a sack.
It's true. It could be a very wide open season this season because of how many new coaches we get.
I hate to say it, but I think this all plays in Arteta's hands.
Fuck that guy.
I think them lot down the road, the Woolwich Wanderers, I think it couldn't be better for them this season. I think that red hot favourites for this league, to be honest.
Maybe. If PGMOL help them again. Yeah, you're probably right.
For sure.
Well, guys, it was fun. I got to take off. But Adrian,
They are Varsiful, aren't they? Varsiful.
Yes.
thank you for the
Right,
hospitality again.
we're ending the show now anyway. I want to thank you all, the 90 odd viewers on various platforms and listening. Like I say, like you can see that red subscribe button in the bottom right corner. Come on, guys, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps me bring you good content. You know, I mean, put a lot of work into this channel to get it going. So, like, big up. Alan and Steve's links are in the chat, on the banners, and in the comment section. And with that, I want to thank. These are regular guests that'll be every Friday. They're available. So, you know, we always bring you good guests on Spurs Diehards. And with that, I thank you all in the chat for your comments and questions. Thank all of you watching us on various platforms. Big up to everyone who bothers to watch us on playback. When we get a lot of views on the videos on playback, but we could do as a subscriptions as well, you know. And with that, I'm going to end the stream with this.
Later, guys.
We are talking till we die. We are talking till we die. Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are talking till we die. We are talking till we die. Spurs die heart and soul. We are talking till we die. We are talking till we die. Spurs die heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue.